Hello, welcome to the Pendulum Instruments YouTube channel. At Pendulum Instruments, we are constantly working on improving the quality and performance of our products. One type of improvement is updates to the firmware of the instruments. New firmware versions provide improvements to stability, bug fixes, new features and enhancements based on feedback from our users. This is why it is important to use the latest firmware version. In this video, we will show you how to update the firmware of your CNT-104S or CNT-102 Multi-channel frequency analyzer. To start with, you need to check what firmware version is currently installed on your instrument. To check the current firmware version, go to Settings, and in the lower right corner, click About. Now go to the Pendulum Instruments website and check the version number of the latest available firmware for your instrument. If there is a newer version available, we recommend updating the firmware of your instrument. You can download the latest firmware version to your PC from the Pendulum Instruments website. Please note that it is essential that the instrument remains powered on throughout the entire update process. There are two ways to install the firmware update to your instrument: through the web interface or by using a USB flash drive. Installing the update through the web interface is the preferred option, and it can be done in a few simple steps. First, determine the IP address of your instrument. On the instrument, go to Settings, choose User Options, and click Network to check or set the current IP address. Then open the web browser on your computer. Enter the IP address into the address field. The web interface of the instrument will open. Now, all you need to do is click on the firmware update link in the top right corner of the page and follow the instructions. Click to select a file or drag and drop a software update image file to the firmware update window. Please wait until the instrument reboots. Be aware that during the installation of the firmware update, the instrument will not be available over the network, but it will become available once the installation is finished. You can check that the new firmware version has been successfully installed by going to Settings and clicking About in the lower right corner to see the current firmware version. You can now start taking measurements on your CNT-100 series multi-channel frequency analyzer with the new firmware installed. You can also update the firmware using a USB flash drive. Copy the downloaded firmware update file to your USB flash drive. Insert the USB flash drive into one of the front panel USB ports on the instrument. Select Settings, then choose User Options and navigate to Firmware Update. Open the firmware update screen and click on the firmware update file to begin the installation. Please wait until the device reboots. You can check that the new firmware version has been successfully installed by going to Settings and clicking About in the lower right corner to see the current firmware version. You are now ready to take measurements on your CNT-100 series multi-channel frequency analyzer with the newly installed firmware. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time.